Hello everybody, Michael Bacher from Rectify Gaming, today bringing you our review of A Plague Tale Requiem. Now, following up on the 2019 predecessor, A Plague Tale Innocence, Requiem continues the journey of Amicia and Hugo many months after the events of the first game. That first game's final scene of the siblings rotting off in their cart on the way to expected happiness was short-lived. A chance near life and death encounter awakens Hugo's abilities in Requiem, and the Prima Macula begins to emerge full force. Now, Amicia and Hugo must flee in search of a mystical island Hugo sees in his dreams that may or may not cure his affliction. And it's here that we pick up our journey. Now, Requiem changes little to what made the first game great, instead opting to make minor additions to further enhance the gameplay and narrative formula which encompassed Innocence. Now, at its heart, Requiem is a stealth game. Creeping through tall grass, throwing a rock to distract enemies, and utilizing your environment to your advantage is all part of Requiem's repertoire. Even combat at its core is stealth-related, as Amicia will need to quietly take out enemies, if she chooses, in order to not attract other enemies that may be nearby. Where Requiem excels as a stealth game, though, is the degree at which it incorporates philosophical self-introspection and psychological health while encapsulating the player in them both. Now, hope is one of the strongest drivers out there, and Requiem shows that exquisitely. For Hugo, it's the hope that he will cease to be disappointed by the very world he is trying to save. Most adults want to be able to handle this mental load, and Hugo's no different as we see his soul get torn to emotional shreds during the game. Amicia's journey is a bit of a different one. She's following a sense of duty to a brother under the guise of destiny. Now, the fight Amicia goes through for her own mental health is incredibly tied into the story progression and jointly with Hugo. She's fighting to carry on in order to succeed for her brother, and as the story progresses, however, it becomes much clearer what the exact cause and effect of her anguish really is. It's imperative to speak of the narrative and the story of Requiem, as it's at the very heart of what the game really is. Every single scene had purpose, and every action portrays a tangible result. There's no filler in Requiem, no side quests, no HUD. All that is there is the gameplay of two children that push themselves past how incredibly scared they are in order to overcome adversity at a level which most adequately functioning adults would succumb to. This is evident in every aspect of the gameplay. Being a stealth game, the obvious premise is to attempt to sneak past enemies. Of course, sometimes it's simply easier to whip out your rock sling and go to work, but doing so not only has an impact on Amicia, but how the other characters view her as well. The emotional impact of killing enemies takes its toll on her throughout her journey. Her handshake, her voice cracks, and the characters notice. They'll comment things like, "I've never seen you do that before," to which Amicia will say, "I don't like it, but I have to," with a voice crack to accentuate the emotional drive. Others will say things like, "Hey, you didn't have to do that. We could have gotten past." Now, there are three characters that accompany Amicia at different times during her journey, and each one is a philosophical manifestation of the troubles which she's experiencing during the game that all blend so well together. Being developed on this current generation consoles and PC only, Requiem takes full advantage of this newest technology. The turmoil that Amicia and Hugo undergo is visible on their face and their body language. Added to the fact that Requiem is one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful looking games I've ever played, the immersiveness feels as if you're being pulled into the screen itself. Let's also not forget that the characters are children, and our natural emotional tie as human beings to them is going to be greater than adults. All of these details force you to try and play as a better person for the good of the characters we are portraying. Requiem also enlists more crafting options in addition to Innocence. 5 different types of attacks can be deployed through the use of either your sling, hand-thrown items, pots, or crossbow bolts. There's also a new counterattack ability that functions more of a second chance for Amicia. Now, while getting caught in Innocence would mean basically certain death, Requiem allows for a more balanced approach. Amicia will, depending on the type of enemy that attacks you, get knocked down when detected. We then have a choice to either counterattack with the sling, run away, or kill them with a newly added knife. Now, remember what I said about the available choices before you make your decision. The skill system also is unique and something I've never seen in a game before. Amicia's skills in the game consist of stealth, alchemy, and aggressiveness. There are no skill points, and each upgrades passively depending on your choice of playstyle. Sneaking past enemies will earn you the ability to move faster while crouched and make less noise, while killing enemies will let you reload your sling faster and different types of abilities. The beauty of this system is it forces you to tweak your playstyle in order to upgrade the same skill depending on your situation. Now, the upgrades in Requiem are based on the amount of enemies in a given section. Taking out less than 33% of them increases your stealth. Up to 2/3 increases your alchemy, and above 2/3 will shoot up your aggressiveness skills. Some areas only have 1 or 2 enemies, while others might have 6+. So while one kill might be okay in one section, and it'll upgrading your stealth skill, and another one, that skill is going to take a hit and your aggressiveness goes up. It is not possible to upgrade all 3 to max in one playthrough, so you are going to be able to go to New Game Plus, which is a really good benefit of this game as it lets you see all the different options that the game has. How you play also impacts whether or not you can even upgrade. As noted, Requiem exists the use of knives found throughout the game. Now you have a choice. Are you going to kill an enemy with the knife, or save it to open up a secret workbench that you found while you're exploring? Before you answer, you should know that these knives are the only way to open up these benches. You're also going to need all the material inside them to upgrade your sling, pouch, or whatever to max level. So taking out an enemy not only results in the immediate portrayal of that action, as you get to see the handshake and the voice crack in Amicia, but it also makes it harder to come back from that decision by making it more difficult to do so with fewer upgrade opportunities or options to the contrary. And it's in this way that Requiem thrives. Every difficult or wrong real-life decision takes you further down a road that makes it more difficult to come back from. Requiem is so flawlessly tied together that every aspect impacts another. It is beyond clear that Requiem's not about the end result, as there's only one ending to this game, but instead what matters the most is the how. How does Amicia progress through the game? How does she make the choices? Was the choice she made to really help Hugo, or was it more for her? You start to think about the choices you make in your own life and their ramifications while playing. And this is the journey that Amicia struggles with. It all comes to a head and explodes with an ending so abrupt and impactful that I was left sitting with my hands over my nose and mouth in that "I can't believe that just happened" expression. Overall, Plague Tale Requiem is not just a game. It is a must-play, flawless experience which teaches you how to better one's own life and analyze your own decisions through the eyes of a child. And it's for this reason that we at Rectify Gaming rate A Plague Tale Requiem a perfect 10 out of 10.